Hi. Yeah, I'm in the car and I'm gonna just carry on waffling at the beginning of this video just to distract myself from my body, and hopefully I can just get into the flow of speaking and I can get into the video, this live stream, provide a nice story, a nice spiritual story, some spiritual food for everybody, some insight into reality, and I need to take the piss name for reality as well, because that's what reality is. We call it real, but I don't want to call it fakeality, but it's definitely not real. It's 12:15 and I've been non-stop for more than a day. I mean, I slept last night and I say I slept, I'm still in that place where I need to fix whatever the last course of antipsychotics misaligned within me, and it seems like sleep might be improving. That's what I've got to acknowledge. But in terms of my life, I acknowledge as well that my life is ringing alarm bells, and I've put the red alert system on because things are too painful on too many levels for me to really deal with it in a realistic way. Let's see if we can. Better. Gremlins again. It's going to have to be a slightly dark video, so if anybody was ever going to have a problem listening to my whiny voice, I'm sure it's going to be even harder with poor light. My eyes are quite sensitive, but leave it like that. I'm gonna shoot myself, man. I can't take the strips. When things get on the red alert in my life, I need to assess things and figure out what's not working, make some, oh, for fuck's sake. Everything's been breaking at the moment. I think I must have been on holiday for a long time, and my spirit's come back and my life's fallen apart. I have that energy and it's kind of annoying. I have to leave it at the depressing light setting, but never mind. Yeah, so where I need to make changes, where I need to make changes because things are beyond my limits, the way I'm going about life. Not that I'm doing anything wrong in the first instance, it's just a case of the strange set of combination of requirements that I need to implement to stay in balance of the insanity that is my life. Isn't working with the last combination. And it's like trying to pick a lock. You can use a certain amount of logic and reason to gauge what's best. Trying, but I've not been able to think beyond my body and discomfort and pain in my body. I tell a lie, I managed to think for about half an hour this morning, got somewhere, and then it all fell apart again. And I can't function at the moment. It's too much. I've never been under. I was going to say I've never been under this much stress, but I remember one occasion. I've told the story of it. I can't deal with this. I experienced unpleasant sensations from my mental health. In terms of sexuality at times, and that's hard enough to deal with, but I've got the pain at the same time, and it's just like incomprehensible how I'm meant to be alive, how I'm meant to be conscious with my body. I'm being asked to be superhuman at the moment, and I keep turning around to life and saying, look mate, you got the wrong man. I live at flat 96 on John's Court. I'm mad. Ask my neighbours, they hear my screams all day long. I'm in pain. I've been in pain for a long time. I can't deal with the pain. You've got the wrong person if you want me to be superhuman. I'm the weakest, most pathetic human being I know, because I seem to be the only person that complains in this world. And strives for it. I was going to say strives for truth anymore, but that's not true. I don't strive for a thing. I sold out a long time ago, but life puts me in a place where it looks like I strive for truth and everybody else sells out. I would have sold out ages ago. I did sell out ages ago, but it's life that says, no, Andreas, we know you appreciate truth as much as you're truthful to yourself to say that you would sell out, that you've sold out. You're going to look at truth and see truth all day long, and it's going to hurt you. But I'm gasping for oxygen to deal with the pain, to gain some grounding, some sense of the pain, so I can deal with it on a physical level, so so I can think and put the rest of my life in place. And it's the rest of my life, because I can't, it's been so long where I've not put it in place. It's just amplifying all the pain and bodily problems. So I thought I'd try doing something totally different. But I'm going mad in the flat. I can't be there anymore. It's just like my body's like, it feels like it's in space, like it's in a vacuum. And it's being pulled apart, like exploding, like without a spacesuit and space sort of thing. As I said, I'm exhausted now. It took me the best part of the day to get in the shower because of the way I experienced pain. But yeah, let's try and pure spirituality. It's just a bit practical too, because where things are really hard, well, rewind. Where I experience reality, I believe I'm in a coma, or like some sort of near-death experience, and this is just like a dream state. I've been devoting a bit of time to trying to figure out what do I do to get myself out of the coma. Because I'm not going to go down the Inception route and try suicide. I've tried that too many times in the past, years ago now, but I'm still here. So that's off the list. Exploring all your fears is probably where it's going to end up. I'm probably going to experience like my ultimate fear, and I'm going to have to experience it on that bodily, emotional, on every level, and I can see how it's going to come about, and it's really, really petrifying that I'm going to have to go through it. I mean, I might not, because a lot of what I'm going through at the moment is like that experience compartmentalised out. So it's like I'm already experiencing it in bits. It's just that would be a lot more intense and prolonged. So if I have to experience it on a physiological level, and that's the requirement, then I'm likely going to have to go through it. If life can forgive and say, well, no, you've experienced it on some physiological level, and you have, because I don't know if anybody's been unlucky enough to experience terror in their life, but what it is, it's like a state where you can't breathe, and your whole body needs to throw up, but because there's no oxygen, there's nowhere to throw up, and you're there, and your body is like the whole body is moving in with a lot of energy, with a real amount of energy. And I say your body's moving, but your body's being moved by the energy. And the energy isn't just energy, it's emotion. And it's raw emotion, it's hard emotion, it's emotions that you can't get, that you haven't been able to deal with. And it's moving you. So as it's all going through you, you need oxygen. You can't deal with the emotions. You have to surrender because the energy is too much. And you have to let go of any external attachments because you don't have a choice. And the thing is, when you're in that place, it's probably because you've got some sort of external thing that you're attached to. And it will keep moving you like a birthing process for as long as it takes. And let's just say my life has put the right scenario together where it's possible to put me in a place where I'll be training with that. So in other words, it's like, instead of giving you a 24-hour session, Andreas, what we'll do, we'll give you a 12, 13, 14-hour session, then give you a break, then give you another 12, 13, instead of doing one 24-hour session, we'll give you 5 13-hour sessions with a few hours break in between each one. That sort of mentality. So in other words, my life could amplify it, we could improve it as well. So the training aspect, in all honesty, if I have to experience the terror at that level, the training isn't really going to be there to help me. It's going to be there to amplify it, because if I'm in a coma, I need to get through my fears sort of thing. So it's like, how bad can your imagination, Andreas, make this experience? That's how bad we'll make it. You just got to experience your fears. So, that's what I'm working through at the moment, that sort of stuff. But I'm constantly looking for a reason to my coma. And I stumbled on something last night, and I'm like, actually this kind of makes sense, you know, this kind of resonates that something's up on this level to which I saw. And I really want to keep it simplistic can't, my hip is in too much discomfort. But it feels appropriate to talk about this on a practical level, and I'm pretty sure it might be interesting for anybody with a spiritual ear. That idea is I'm beginning to come to the right. First of all, I know I'm weird and wacky, I'm insane, and I used to in like just philosophical, spiritual way. We don't know, the sky's not going to fall down tonight. Thinking on a scientific level, on a personal level, we don't know. We don't know anything. We take things for granted, but we don't really know the sky. We don't really know reality. That's what we know. And a few years ago I heard David Icke, and I respected his work before. And one of the latest developments in his work is that he claimed the moon was artificial. And I was like, this is really hard to digest, you know. I can deal with reptilian overlords, so it kind of makes sense, there's something wrong with the world. We are a slave species, I mean, we all, if you take the right perspective to society, we're slaves, all of us. Some, unfortunately, have a greater collective history and connection to slavery than others. As a species, we are slaves. So having some sort of planetary overlord at that level resonates, even if they're not reptilian in nature or appearance, even though I believe that. And then he dropped the bomb that the moon's artificial, and I was like, I tried to take different perspectives on it, and I was like, yeah, I can't really take it on board, David, but I've trusted your work so far, so I won't push it to the side just yet. Anyway, I think I eventually pushed it to the side after a lot of contemplation. And as spiritual information has been coming to me, I've begun to come to the belief that the sky is artificial. I don't know exactly how, but I believe, the sky could turn off tomorrow, so it could be like some sort of illusion, like some sort of consciousness grid, and it reflects something to humanity. And when it gets turned off, we'll see like a moon that's blown up, and planets that are crumbled, and a sun that's a different colour, or something like that. It's just something about the darkness at night doesn't make sense to me. That sounds weird. And the black in the sky, there is something there that troubles me. I could be wrong, it could be nothing, but anyway, my research is that have a suspicion that back in ancient Egypt, when Akhenaten and Nefertiti rocked up to the kings or the pharaohs, whoever was in charge, and said, look, we're going to take over from now, and they said, yeah, go on. I think that was Arcturians, probably Arcturians, because the other information I had is like a dark blue energy, which is Arcturus. It does, I read it on Wikipedia, it's like depicted like doing like a back bend over the earth. The goddess, whoever is representative of Arcturus, the planetary system. So my thinking is whatever planetary alien race come from Arcturian, they're probably benevolent, but they've come here to create an artificial sky for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. And there it can link into David Icke's work that the moon is artificial because it could have been blown up. And as I said, or it could not be there, or we've got like more than one moon. It could be anything. Starting to believe, is what I'm starting to think is astrology. Yeah? What is it? It's a tracking of these solar systems of stars and everything. Pardon me. And from tracking of stars, we can gauge energy, a message. That's what it is. You know, we can write fanciful stories about solar systems and what they are, and draw pictures of the Big Dipper and this solar system and that solar system and how they should be drawn and all of that. But ultimately, they're just dots in the sky that long ago, wise people noticed that they could follow these dots and create a system, track them, write them down. They must have, prolonged process. And from that, they can depict the energy influencing the earth at any given time. So in other words, as the earth moves, as the moon moves around the earth, or we move around each other, and then we move around the sun, and then the sun moves around the Milky Way or whatever, I don't know exactly how it goes, but and then Milky Way moves around the great central solar sun or whatever. There's a lot of movement between all of these planets. And as we move and come into different forces of gravitational pulls and comets and time, the past, as we move around different areas of space, we must move around different, even if we haven't been tracked over that same bit of space before. I mean, imagine these are two different bits of space that the Earth moves through over the course of 10 years period. Every time we come into this energy, it reminds us of what happened 10 years ago, and 10 years before that, and 10 years before that. And it holds that as an energy. And then this one has a different record of 10-year period. And that's the Earth That's the Earth's past. But then, as we move around space and we enter new space, we're interacting with other planetary energies of their present moment, and not only their present moment, but their past. And who knows, maybe we're interacting in the future too. But then I started thinking about the Mayans, you know. They're the ones who made time really for us. I mean, the ancient Vedas have time as well. But I think it comes from the Mayans more, the modern day calendar. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. But either way, the Mayans tracked time. And I started to think about the way they tracked time. And that was to count beans. Like, apparently they counted beans. To count the years and the energies. And as they tracked the different energies, they documented it, I guess. To say, in this year, it will be this energy, so this is what will happen, this back to, I know that's the sort of language that it is, I have no idea what it means. So sorry if I've offended somebody. But then I started just thinking about it, man, like, the Mayans weren't idiots, man. Like, they built pyramids that really affect the planetary energy of planet Earth, if not the solar system, if not the universe. They had the ability to put jade in their teeth. They had real wisdom. They had a 13-day cycle where they knew there would be a different energy each day. And they counted these beans up until 2012 or 2021, which what I've been told by a Mayan elder is the actual sort of official or the updated ending for the Mayan calendar. I'm not too sure, but that's what was said. And it just looks like they were in prison, man. Why the hell did they need to count time for when it ends? Why didn't they count it until infinity? And it just sounded like they were in prison to something. And they're like, right guys, we're conscious beings. We practice acceptance as a spiritual way of life. Let's just find out how long we're going to be trapped here. And we can get on with our lives. And they counted beings and they said, right, we're going to be here like 5,000 years. Okay. And they just got on with it. That's what it sounded like. What, the beans just run out one day? How does it work? The beans just run out? Okay, that's the end of time. Doesn't make sense. It makes sense like we're in prison. You're a free spiritual being. You don't entrap yourself to this concept that's real. If you can build a effing pyramid to change the planetary energy, why don't you just change the planetary energy so you're not enslaved to time? It sounded like they were in prison. And then I started to think, the sky, what do we really know is what the Hubble Space Telescope takes pictures of, the space telescopes. We've never been anywhere. We've never been outside our solar system, have we? If we have, with some, ancient 1970s technology spaceship, I don't know what we've sent up there. The pictures are going to be about, 3-4 megapixels. How many megapixels, equivalent, they're going to be pathetic. So when we're seeing suns and all of these things, who knows if, from a different perspective, that sun is just like a very, very almost like a microscopic picture or a macro picture, should I say. It's a macro picture, not micro. Macro picture of something that's a lot closer. And then I started to think, if the Mayans were just tracking energy, and that's all it is, that's what they were documenting. And with the awareness of what different energies create, they can depict the future. They can say, right, this energy plus this energy plus this energy is likely going to equal a new consciousness revolution, the 1960s or whatever, the swinging 60s, the summers of love or whatever. They probably depicted World War II with their energy, World War I, blah blah blah. The fall of the Berlin Wall, who knows? But that's what they do, they track the energy. And they synthesized it down to a 13-day period. So in other words, what it says to me is that this energy moves humans. This energy is so powerful that the minds realize they become aware of it. At least they can have some peace in life. Give themselves a roadmap to say, right, on this day I'm going to chill out, and this day I'm going to work. It's like, it sounds like that old Monday's child is full of grace, Tuesday's child is blah blah blah, Wednesday's child is... It sounds exactly like the same thing. And somehow, over the course of millennia, the Gregorian calendar said, right, F this for a life, I'm not going to follow energy, I'm going to start depicting it. I want to break it down to a 7-day effing period. And we're going to suffer it until we get in control of it. And we start moving to it. So maybe the Mayans were just tracking it until we gain the power within ourselves to overcome this planetary energy. But then I started to think, well, hang on a second, maybe we've been enslaved by Arcturians. Maybe they're the prison, they're the who the Mayans were prisoners to. Then I started to think, maybe the Arcturians came with a message to communicate to humanity, a message of suffering, of pain, of enslavement to energy. And only those with the wisdom to read the sky, read that SOS message in the sky, and it says, what's the difference? Dots isn't SOS. A series of dots. That's what stars are. What's the difference? And the Mayans were clever guys. The Mayans are like top engineers, the top engineers of the universe. That's how to look at minds. That's what their minds are like. That's how I see it. See them. And when Arcturus came and covered the sky and sent us the message of what's going on, they realised you don't want to be telling your average Joe Schmo about this information because it will ruin their life. At the planetary consciousness level that I'm operating at, it will ruin my life too. understand the truth. So what they did, they put it in code. And what they did, they probably assigned that code to a specific consciousness, vibrational frequency that humans can evolve to. And only once that they've evolved to a certain level of consciousness is it appropriate to realise the message in the sky, because you're able to hold it when you've raised your consciousness and you become aware of the severity of whatever that message is. But ultimately, in the first instance, the way the Mayans had a 13-day calendar, this is what I was taught by this Mayan elder teacher. You're essentially got different energies on each day. And it means on this day, this is the energy of planet Earth. The next day's a different energy. The next day's a different energy. The next day's a different energy. To such an extent, you need to govern your whole life by it. So we're really influenced by the stars, yeah? And then I just thought, well, hang on a second. What? I'm saying the sky's fake. That's what I'm saying. And if the sky is fake, let's look at it a different way. I look at it like a bit like happy to see you this morning, this evening, tonight. What's his name? That movie with the actor from Ace Ventura. My mind's gone blank. The Mask. What help me? Jim Carrey. The Truman Show. He made the movie The Truman Show, and in it, he was in like a massive bubble. Well, what happens if that bubble is wrapped around the whole of the Earth? What if that bubble is just like, how can we put it? I saw it a different way. Because I saw it that the Earth is in trouble. That's how I saw it. I saw it that, let's forget about the stars for a second. Think about it on a more practical level. All the Mayans are saying is that every day over a 13-day period, energy repeats itself. And the energy of planet Earth is very different in each of those days. What if the energy was coming out of the Earth and going out into space? And almost like we are being put through, we are like a filter as that energy is passing through us, and it's distorting our vision. And it's almost like as we look up at the sky, we see it wrong. As a result, we can't see what's there correctly because of the energy coming out of the Earth. And as it comes out of the Earth and comes through us and goes out into space, it twines into like almost like strands, but I want to try and think of a picture to imagine somebody with a spiky energy field, yeah? The spikes are almost joined up, aren't they? Like that. So from one spike, it's not going to go straight out and then in, round a perfectly round sphere. It's going to go like a bit all over the place, like a plasma field. So that's what I imagine it now. So imagine like plasma coming out of the Earth, yeah? And as it goes into outer space, it goes through us and distorts our vision. And as we look up, we're seeing almost like a reverse tornado. So instead of being at the bottom of the tornadoes, it's coming down from the sky. We're essentially at the top of the tornadoes, it's coming out of the earth. And it goes out into a point in space. And they create like solar systems. They create the stars. But we're thinking about plasma moving really fast, but we're talking about whole planet. We're talking about whole planetary energy. And who knows on what level that energy moves at, how dense it is, how strong it is. And coming back to ancient Egypt, that's when I believe this all took place. And I've only made the realization today that Akhenaten was likely to have been Arcturian, because I started to reference Arcturians more in features, and I've started to notice them. And I think I've not done the research yet to be certain, but Akhenaten's physique and body structure is a bit representative. I've got to do the research to be sure. But either way, he just came in and stepped in and became the pharaoh. Then on top of that, there's that famous image of him putting the sun in the sky and rays beaming down on the earth. Well, what if that sun isn't the sun at all? What if that sun is the moon? And for whatever reason, Akhenaten gave us the ability to have the moon to give us light at night. Anyway, these are all conspiracy theories, spiritual left field ideas. But the theory is we're not trapped to any external planetary energy. The sky doesn't exist. Who knows what's up there? I don't know. We've been as far as the moon back in the 60s. And I don't think we've been past the Van Allen days since. So there's got to be something really going on, you know? My thinking is that with the right level of consciousness within ourselves, we correct our mentality. And when that energy from the earth comes through us as a filter and ordinarily distorts our vision because we have an incorrect perception to the outside world, when we correct our mentality to life and understand the sky doesn't exist in the first instance, and I think we get a bit of a clearer picture on how to look at the world appropriately. Everything kicks into place. And it's like the lights get turned on. I don't know. But I'm putting energy in this direction because I can't deal with the sun at the moment. I can't deal with the sun at the moment. My body's really been affected badly by it, but I'm very sensitive to everything at the moment. So that's my thinking, that's the left field idea. And And then I realised society, the world, is just like this massive, illogical, complex, comprehensive system that just functions to some extent. What if the world, the way it works on every level, is a direct reflection of spirituality? And if we can realise and see spirituality in the world, for instance, like we're able to say that angels work at the level of, say, Parliament, that archangels work at the level of royalty. We could say, what else is there in terms of spirituality? It's a bit infinite. I mean, we're talking about the laws of spirit. That's what we're talking about. It's like, for instance, language is language, yeah? We talk. I speak, you understand what I'm saying. You speak, I understand what you're saying. I say understand, you understand what understand means, and that's really all it means. There's no attachment to anything I say. What you say, I have a choice to listen or not listen. If you want to have a go at me, you can have a go at me. I can tell you to F off, or I can just walk away. And it's a bit impartial. As soon as you get into a court of law, that language all of a sudden takes on a different understanding. Saying understand takes on a different level of meaning. It means, yes, I commit essentially my freedom, or whatever I'm being tried upon, to that statement. So instead of saying I understand, you're best off saying what you say makes sense. But then you've got to start dancing around with language. For what reason? To protect yourself. So, in terms of language, what would that be reflected in spirituality? Where do we have to protect ourselves? In terms of karma. Court is karma, isn't it? That's the only place you're tried for in spirituality. But why do we have to protect ourselves against karma? What is it that we do on a daily basis that's free? And then when it comes to karma, we've got to take a different stance, a different approach. That sort of mentality. And if we can apply that mentality to the outside world, we can start to see what's right and wrong about spirituality. Spirituality, if we take into account John Melchisedec's work in the Flower of Life, it really does point to there being a problem with spirituality, a conscious problem that we've induced to help fix a physical reality problem, probably the earth dying or the sun dying or something. Who knows? It just could be something that's serious. That's what I'm trying to get at. But we've had to alter spirituality. And if we can pick apart the lock to society, we can then begin to restore our spiritual heritage, our spiritual past, and start levitating and flying around the planet. What else do you want to be spiritual for? What, you want to sit there and meditate all day? Come on. I want to fly from here to Australia. I want to be Neo from the Matrix. Well, I actually want to be Morpheus, but I want to be Morpheus that can also fly. That's what I'm saying. They can fly alongside me. It's just there. It doesn't matter if you're in the Matrix or if you're in Zion. You know, it's that sort of thing, because you come back to Zion and you've trained your mind so much in the Matrix, that you can fly in Zion 2, because it starts to hint at that in the original Matrix. Or number 2. So I'm going to spend 5 minutes exploring this, and I say 5 minutes, but I'm saying I'm going to commit myself to 5 minutes worth of energy, and if I don't really get anywhere, I'll end it there. Otherwise I'll be happy to continue. For me, the problem with the world is war. That's the real problem. Everything else can really be healed very easily without war. Once nature becomes responsible for suffering, and we leave nature as the responsible bad guy, we can almost accept that, you know. We can say, we can then start to have enlightened ideas about, okay, well, what's ethical? Do we act against nature? Do we act in accordance with nature? Do we help this area of the world that's experiencing famine? Do we take food there? Or do we help the people and rehome them in other parts of the world? Well, the conflict goes away, man. As soon as war stops, it's all up from there, isn't it? It's like war is the last thing that's really holding the world back, from my perspective. And I haven't meditated on it for too long, but that's just in my innocent perspective to life. War's wrong. We've got a fucking ministry for war, for fuck's sake. I had the realisation earlier that there are places in this world, and from where I'm from, my heritage is from Cyprus, there's conscription, I can't pronounce it, conscription, you know what I'm trying to say, where you have to be automatically enlisted to the army at a certain age. And what the fuck Cyprus needs an army for? There's a population of less than 1 million. If anybody invades, they've got no hope. But yet, everybody has to go to the army. It's just like, alright, another illogical political statement, because NATO says you need to put 10% of your economic finances towards the military. Well, yeah, that's fine, but you're a population of a fucking million. It's a bit like saying you need a stab-proof and a bulletproof vest if you're a kid. It's like, if anybody wants to harm a child, it doesn't matter if they've got a stab-proof and a bulletproof vest on, does it? They're going to really be hurt. So it doesn't really matter. You might as well let them be free and just let the big guys, you know. I look scary, but I will run a mile. Any form of conflict, yeah, I know in the most intense situations I'll have to react, and I have over the course of my mental health, but man, I just want to avoid the conflict. I just want to be like, oh, sorry man, look, I didn't mean to offend you. My apologies, have a nice day. This is me without my mental health disorder. There's no point. But then again, you know, I don't know what constitutes anyway, you know, you've got to apply a certain amount of I mean, this is my bulletproof vest. I make myself look, well, no. I know I can look scary. And when I'm scared, I allow myself to look scarier at times because it's a form of protection. So that's my 10% the military NATO. That's my consciousness there. But that's the problem in the world war. And we look at it and we can say, right, well, what do you do? What would you do on a world level with war? Because as long as war exists, there's going to be suffering. I can't imagine living somewhere where a war's taking place. The constant fear and losing of friends and families like on a too frequent basis, and not having adequate means for life, you know, sanitary requirements, running water and food, you know, not knowing where your next meal's coming from. What happens if someone gets ill? What happens if you need something and the shop's just been bombed and you have to walk 20 miles or something, if you're lucky, and then you've got to walk 20 miles to get water, you know, things like that. They're not too uncommon, and when it comes to war. So if war's the problem, what do we do as an enlightened species? Because that's what we're saying. At the level of spirituality, we're talking about enlightenment. To be flying around the planet, teleporting here, there and everywhere. Telekinesis, I had a vision yesterday of how it's possible through the state of a coma to train my mind for telekinesis. When I go back to my body and I find myself in a near paralytic, I don't know if that's the word, but you know what I'm trying to say, state in bed, I've trained my mind so much to the outside world within my coma, I can start moving the outside world and levitating. And I just had visions of my life being a lot easier than it is now. Paralysed, but like floating through the air, making dinner with my mind and feeding myself with like a floating spoon in the air, and recovering, you know, using a massage gun on my back where I can't reach with my arms and they're paralysed. Things like that. And I can really see it on a real level, as real as it's going to get. I'm talking about me waking up from a coma. But war exists. Alright, let's say we put all the countries around the table and we signed an agreement where we say nobody drops bombs anymore because we understand how bad war is. What do we do with all the bombs? Do we take a Simpsons approach and make a massive campfire and throw all the bombs in there and get rid of them and wait for the aliens to invade? Do we keep some for the aliens when they invade? Do we keep some in case things decline in the future? Well, no. First and foremost, if things are going to have the possibility of declining that way in terms of us creating an internal conflict in the future, we have to get rid of them. But it makes sense to keep some for outer space, because we're the human race first. We don't know what's up there, do we? But then if we end war within ourselves down here, we've got to sort of end war with ourselves up there. So if we end war with ourselves up down here, we might as well look at the highest possible level. We've got to end war with the guys in space. So we're at war at the moment. That's the point of Donald Trump's space agency, or whatever he put into place. So we're at war with space aliens at the moment. We're 8 billion people. We've never been past the moon. Well, we can't remember when we had the ability. We've got a collective amnesia. We're blowing each other up at the moment. And we've got to end war somehow with the guys in space that are threatening to invade us. What do? We have nuclear bombs and God knows what they've developed since. That was back in the 50s, and that was before computers, and we've got quantum computers now. We've got Men in Black Secret Services now, where they've got little guns in the movie that sort of mentality, you know, real possible destruction. What do we do? Not only that, we've got the Death Star in terms of spirituality that was raised and put upon the pyramids from Lake Titicaca and put on the pyramids according to Drunvalo Melchizedek, when we told the Greys to go F themselves and leave us alone. So we have spiritual weaponry. Maybe that's what's wrong with spirituality. We've got spiritual weaponry. For myself, I remember I used to work in a health shop in London, Food for All, really good health shop, really good ethics as health shops go. I mean, the owner, he's just like, as much as a modern day saint is, he's a modern day saint. And I remember I was working there and someone came in and said, do you practice martial arts, Andreas? And I said, yeah, I practice the martial art of unconditional love. I think what we've got to start to do is take ourselves and keep the mentality, switch on the news one day and see the effects of war. Because I didn't have it. I refrained from watching the news because I saw it as polluting to my mind, and it is in terms of consciousness. But in terms of an educational exercise, if you turn on the news and just see what's been left over in terms of Afghanistan, for instance, and it's not talking about this on a political level, it's just the most recent one, or rewind to Hiroshima. That's what the best thing to do. Rewind to Hiroshima. And Hiroshima and I can't remember the other city. And we're suffering the effects like decades later on a planetary level. God knows how much it's affected the environment, polluted everybody's air, how much we've polluted the ocean with all those nuclear tests, and there were some islands, the French, when they were testing nuclear bombs. God knows how much that ocean is polluted and all the fish. We're suffering that as a species. For what? So we can have some protection against the aliens in the sky that may invade. Here guys, I've got a great idea. Let's create a new weapon. We'll have to take a step down in terms of what it means to live, but we'll be safe if we ever get invaded, maybe. It's insane. So the educational process is to turn on the news or go on the internet and rewind and see the effects of war. You know, pick your war. Vietnam. Look at it from both sides as well. The veterans coming back with PTSD, missing limbs. How the Viet Cong suffered. My dad used to talk about this sort of stuff. I don't know shit about Vietnam, other than the movie Good Morning Vietnam, which doesn't really say much, does it? look at the people, man. Look at the innocent people that have paid the price. Look at the destruction of property and society. Look at, like I said, man, just put yourself in that place. Try and put yourself in that place and think of what it must be like to live on a daily basis. You know, how it differs from our lives here. The comfort we have here. To be a 5-year-old and have lost your whole family and have to make it in the world in a place that's just been war torn as a 5-year-old. That's not uncommon. You're taken in by a stranger. God knows what takes place. God knows what people do. You know, I don't want to think about it, but that's war. That's the reality. That's why this world isn't, well, no, it's not why this world isn't real. It's because spirituality is broken, it's not real. But was real. And you begin to realise that there are people right now on this planet experiencing that level of life as a result of what? As a result of the comforts we have here, as a result of what? What is the purpose? To hold a bit of land and call it you know, tree land, and this land over here we call it car land, and that land over there we call it brick land, and that land over there we call it house land. Whatever, put whatever name you want on it. It's just the same bit of land, isn't it? It's like the story I told about Alexander the Great rocking up to India and saying, "Where's your army, guys? We want to invade." The guru turns around to Alexander the Great and says, "Well, you want to invade?" And Alexander the Great says, "Yeah." And the guru says, "Okay, well, when I die, can I be buried here?" Alexander the Great gets confused and says, "Well, yeah, if you want." And the Guru says, "Well, take the land then. What's the matter?" The Guru's still going to be having his life, and when he dies, he's going to be buried in the land. It doesn't change his life, does it? It's just a different guy that wants to have an ego about a bit of land. How about, all right, Alexander the Great, you want to be the owner of the land? Fine. Oh, well, Joe Schmo, you want to be the owner of the land? You can both be owners. All right. We'll both give you a certificate. What's it matter? You call it New Alexander land. You call it New Joe Schmo land. I'm not being offensive to India. Please forget about the India story. Please keep it very, very serious. And what are we doing it for? There's no reason. I don't know the reason for war. Because some idiots from ancient Greece started war. I don't know who was warring before that. I haven't done my research. I haven't looked through the rewritten history books to find out who they say went to war first. But what I know is, in terms of unconditional love, you don't fight, man. You just get on with yourself, get on with your life. There's a mentality to have about safety. But I just took everything on the chin. I said, I'm gonna live a blissful life, and I lived my blissful life. And I just didn't fight. I didn't fight people. I fought the world because it's wrong. What am I going to fight people for? For what purpose? so I can boost an illogical ego, to live within an illogical world. It's not going to give me grounding, that's going to make me weak, isn't it? What makes me strong is to be real. I don't need an ego. The more egoless I am, the stronger I am. I just got on myself. And that, ironically, is the ultimate way to fight. Divide and rule. If I come to you and I say, I don't like your top that you're wearing. Speaking like my dad now. Right, well, I can look at it two ways. I can look at it, if this guy's got beef with me, I'm going to hurt him back. What are you complaining about my top for? I don't like your trousers. And then he tells me he doesn't like my shoes, and I tell him I don't like his face. And then maybe things escalate, and maybe punches are thrown, and maybe he pulls out a knife. And then maybe I'll pull out a gun, and then maybe he pulls out a rocket launcher. Then maybe I'll pull out a nuclear bomb, and then maybe he pulls out a Men in Black gun. Who knows how much it escalates. Or he can come to me and say, I don't like your top, and I can take it a different way. I can be, if I'm there and I'm inquisitive about him, I can say, all right, well, why don't you like my top? You know, if I'm in the mood and I can give energy to it, I just say, well, you know, question on it. Or I just say, fine, okay, I don't care, it's just my top. I feel about it like, I like it, I don't like it. Actually, you're right, yeah, it's a horrible top. And there's no problem. How do I relate to it? And just be at peace within myself. And realise whatever problems other people have got, it's just their problems. And really, they need the healing. I should be there and turn around to him and say, oh man, really? Well, what's up? You know, how can I help? In sincerity, as a healer, we should all become healers. And realise the greys that want to come here to invade, let's bring them in, let's give them a cup of tea and a scone, like the English do at tea time, and jam, Earl Grey tea. And we'll invite them in, we'll put out a red carpet for them, we'll make them feel loved. And we'll say, look, you want to invade? Okay, what do you want? We want the land. Okay, you want the land. Can I live my life, and when I die, can I be buried here? If we can have the land, yeah. All right, take the land. We'll give you a certificate. Anything else you want with that? We can make a little dance, and we'll make a little dance for them because they're in pain. They want land, man. They're insane. And out of love, we'll make a fucking a dance out of love, and we'll dance around the fucking flagpole if we have to, for them. But we'll try and enlighten them all along the way to how much and what life really means. So instead of a fucking next level weaponry for space, let's make it next level welcomeness for space. You know, we'll just say, look, we know we're going to get invaded one day. We've just got to be ready. We'll just put a front door and we'll put a doorbell. And we'll put a sign next to the door to say, all are welcome, please come in. And we'll leave it unlocked. And when they come in, we'll have a party. You know, that they come in to invade and we'll be like happy to see them. I don't know, we'll have a plan. 8 billion fucking conscious people that aren't afraid of each other anymore. On the way to being able to levitate and fly around the planet because we've let go of our insane past in terms of survival. I'm sure we'll be able to think of a plan of how to welcome and greet what will be a lower race, even if they have the technology to have come across space and time in the universe, multi-dimensions. They don't have the awareness if they want to invade. We'll have the awareness and we'll have the consciousness to be ready, like the Rock Nation who endure pain, are warriors of endurance. That's what we have to embody. But no, we take it to the next level. The endurance is what we're prepared to do for ourselves as the worst case scenario. So that's the work we have to do for ourselves. 8 billion people have to accept, to endure. Probably any invasion, it could look a lot worse than this, couldn't it? Let's be, anything could happen with an alien invasion, but if we work together, put 8 billion minds together, we've got the means and necessities and infrastructure there in terms of internet. If we haven't if we haven't all connected to the consciousness grid yet, to say, right, well, how do we get prepared? We don't want to suffer. We don't have to suffer. We don't have to endure. Let's take it to the next level. And I think that's when that war ends. Because otherwise, what are we going to be afraid of? Nature? We're going to go to war with nature? Pardon me. Unless that's what we did. We went to, we sussed it all out. We made peace with the entire universe, and we got bored and we said, you know what, guys, should we just have a war for a few thousand years? And why not? We're only going to have a few million deaths. It's worth not suffering the boredom anymore. There's only so much levitation and interdimensional travelling you can do, shape-shifting, telekinesis before you get bored. Between the internal outside worlds and all the other worlds there are to explore, other alien races to communicate with, have sex with, have parties with, eat dinner with. In the words of John Lennon, I'm wearing his clothes sort of at the moment. Imagine all the people living in harmony. I'm looking at the sky to see if it's changed. So, we've got to be real. We've got to be realistic. We've got to be practical. Then we can become infinite. I think this has helped. It's definitely distracted me. So, It was peas, not beans. I'm just thinking, do I wrap this up? How do I wrap this up? So to see what's there, and to see all those cunts in the sky twiddling their thumbs, watching us suffer down here, we all need to do do you want to become infinite right now? Because I've got the answer. Do you want to know what the answer is to becoming infinite and the sky opening? Do you want to know? We all need to be honest with ourselves about the fear this world creates. The fear that to our fellow human beings, to our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our friends, our partners, our children, the suffering effects of us blowing each other up and ruining each other's lives. We are all interconnected some way. And that person suffering the effects of war might as well and could be me and you. And the person blowing them up and ruining their lives might as well be me and you. Have a think about it, and you'll get there. You'll see that. How does that make you feel? Both ways. On an emotional level, on a mental level, on a physical level, on a day-to-day practical level. We crumble, if we're honest. But we can be so sick that a whole country can have the insanity to send human beings to train to kill another human being for the purpose of a certificate. A whole country engrossed in an insanity where it becomes normal, sometimes praised. Be honest with ourselves about how terrifying the life that we live now is, that our taxes here in the UK go towards the making of arms that are sold all around the world, that kill, that ruin lives. That on a political level we have the world army telling every country, give 10% of your finances, your gross domestic product, minimum, as advice to the military, instead of let's get round the table and sort this out. Be honest with ourselves about the world we live in. On a real world level, that's what's taking place. Let's build armies, even at illogical levels, for countries that just doesn't make sense. And when you're honest about war, we can all really connect and relate to the outside world from the same perspective. And be honest about everything, every interaction, every possession, every action, every old mentality, to the understanding and realization of how it made you feel, and you connected to that state of war, both the person doing the bombing and both the person experiencing it. Apply that to our whole lives. And after we've lived life a bit with that mentality, we come together as 8 million people, shaking in our boots. We all look up at the sky at the same time, and we open our hearts to that emotional state of terror. Because essentially that's what we've got facing us at any given moment. And in truth, we need to let go of the Death Star. You know, we don't want to be raising the Death Star. We don't want that consciousness within us as a species. Don't worry, we've got friends in the sky as well. Let them hold the wisdom of weaponry if they want it. We hold the wisdom, we hold other wisdom, and it could be really, it's really in our favour to let that go. And we'll stand there in our vulnerability, in our strength. And we send out the message of peace, innit? We send out the message of presence, our fear, our love, our past, our shame, the possibility of our future, of our infiniteness. And we right the wrongs of the past in that moment. I'm sure whoever knows how to raise the Death Star and tell an alien to leave, we can make it, instead of a Death Star, we can make it like new Captain America, where he's just got a shield. We'll just make it not the Death Shield, the Love Shield. That's what we'll do. We'll go to work and we'll do some DIY work, and we'll convert the Death Star to a love shield. And when aliens come in through our front door and ring our doorbell and just come in because we've left it open for them, when they start behaving like idiots, we'll say to them, what are you doing? And then they say, well, we're going to invade it. We say, all right, have you met our love shield? Our love shield says, we're insane. We have dreadlocks in our beards, and given the right mentality, we'll scream all day long through pain, and you won't want to live here, which is what I can't say that because my next door neighbour's suffering too much. And that's my life. I scream all day long. I'm insane. But if I've got 8 billion or 700, however many, 8 billion minus 1 friends who are all insane like me, and we have aliens that come here and start behaving like idiots, we say, look guys, we're going to turn the love shield on if you don't leave. And they say, love shield? And we say, yeah, we're going to turn on the love shield. And I say, well, you sure? It's just a love shield. We've got a fucking alien weaponry here. And they say, yeah, but we've got a love shield. And we turn on the love shield, and 8 billion people go insane. Like I go insane every day, screaming in agony. Believe me, I can't believe an alien that would want to live here. And we'll do it in love. We'll scream in unconditional love. That they can't hear, they can't feel the vibration of love that we hold in us, in our past, in our consciousness, in our future, in each other. And when we turn it on, they start to feel that vibration for our pain. What do you reckon? Is it a plan? Man, it's lonely here. I could do with 8 billion minus 1 friends to try and heal my suffering. I just want to see what's in the sky when the sky's revealed, you know? That's what I care about. I reckon we're going to have all the different alien races from all over the universe, like a massive, massive welcome party. Sitting there in their, like, in their own spaceships, like their own different cars, they don't own different brands. That one's sitting in a one made of light, that one's sitting in some artificial plastic, this one's in a metal one, that one's just like, well, I don't even know what that one's doing. We've got that one over there screaming in insanity, and I'm the only one who can hear it. That one over there just like crying because of what's going on. This one's laughing his arse off. But that's what the Flower of Life says. Planet Earth is the #1 television channel for the universe. Apparently, my uncle said my job in this life, I can't remember how it was, but I can't remember if he said it or I took it that way. But I took it that way. Essentially, my job in this life is to hold the camera. I think my cousin is the TV presenter. She wanted to be a TV presenter. And we're broadcasting to the entire universe at the moment. And I'm telling them all to fuck off. So they're pissing the fuck out of me. They're sitting there watching us when they could be helping. But, as I said, you know, we are a bit insane in our daily actions of war. I reckon we definitely need to get to work. Shit, I can't. I've got to stop because I keep pressing that horn accidentally. I don't want to. It's late, I don't want to wake anybody up. Anyway, that's my thinking. I'm going to wrap this up and we go upstairs. trying to sort out my life, trying to sort out my life. I can't go to sleep like this.